Welcome to She Rocked It. This is the place where ladies are talking about the ways we're blazing our trails and the things that put the wind in our sails. Hey, it's Karen from She Rocked It. This conversation came from our Instagram Live interview series, so it may sound a little different than a regular podcast, but we really didn't want you to miss this incredible conversation. And if you aren't already, be sure to follow us on Instagram at She Rocked It. Enjoy and get ready to rock.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to She Rocked It. We are live, and we have an amazing conversation in store for you today. At She Rocked It, we are committed to raising the volume on women's voices. And today, as part of our IG Live series, we have the amazing Bethany Lyons, who has just such an incredible history and trajectory of raising her voice and showing such courage in incredible ways. She's about to jump in this live with me. Hang in there. Here comes Bethany.
So great to see you. I was just about to run down all these amazing things that that you've done. So to be as brief as I possibly can, because I know all these things, because I've gotten to be your friend since 7th grade. But just in case y'all aren't familiar yet with this amazing woman, which I hope you will be very soon, she is the founder and sole owner of Lyons Den Digital, which is an incredible online platform for power yoga that you must check out. It will change your life, Lyons Den Digital. And many of you know her as the co-founder of Lyons Den Power Yoga in NYC, which has had amazing following, lots of coverage in major news, celebrity clients, the list goes on and on. She's also one of the original instructors of SoulCycle, which you may have heard of, and a former master trainer of the one and only Madonna's Hard Candy Gyms. And a former regional manager for Crunch Fitness. So all this to say, she's had an incredible career in the fitness and yoga industries. And I've had the great honor of being dear friends with Bethany, like I said, since 7th grade. So tonight I get the chance to share her and her story with everyone tuning in. And it's going to be really hard to keep this to 20 minutes, which is our kind of IG Live length. So Bethany, I hate that we have to keep this short because, we could talk for hours and hours, but we're going to do about 4 questions, kind of a lightning round with you, keep them about 5 minutes each, which is going to be hard for us.
I love that. That's right in alignment with your logo. Lightning round with your lightning. She rocked it logo.
And she's like, look at this, like branding on the fly. She does it all. This is what an entrepreneur does. She's like copywriting. She's making connections. I love her. So
yay.
Bethany, welcome. And
Thank
Bethany,
you.
Yeah. Speaking of branding, your hashtag, your tagline is be courageous.
Yes. For Lyons Den Power Yoga, be courageous. The name was, I actually thought, because I was originally not wanting to name the studio after my last name, but after many people and it just fitting so well with what we did of strength and courage and the way we practiced, really actually kind of like putting ourselves in the Lyons Den. And then not to mention that it was my name, it was sort of like no brainer.
Kind of perfect. And I have to ask you because you just exemplify courage always throughout how many years we won't even say of knowing one another. Courage has been your tagline. I've just known you to always go after what you want. It makes me emotional. Think about it. And so I first lightning round question, give us the secret, Bethany. What has given you the courage to raise your voice again and again throughout your life, through all those things I mentioned? Is there anything you can share with us that we could take to give ourselves courage in our journey?
Yeah, well, there was a sort of a tagline and sort of a movement for a while on no fear, or be fearless. And that never resonated with me because I always had fear. I always,
I wouldn't have known that, actually. That's really cool to hear you say that.
Yeah, of course. I was like wanting to just crush it at every single thing that I did. And of course there was fear. And what I found power in was through action. So the only way that I could get out of jitters or fear or inaction was to just do something. And to me, that's courageous. There's fear associated and you do the thing anyway. And when you flex, and I feel like that's a muscle to flex. I don't think that it's just like that happens and then like that's just who you are. It's like, okay, well, I do this thing. I'm uncomfortable. I do this thing. I do this thing. I'm uncomfortable. I do this thing. And I'm uncomfortable. I do this thing. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. When it doesn't work out and I didn't die or, like
what doesn't kill you?
I'm still standing, then it emboldens us, I think, or has emboldened me to continue to do those things. I mean, that's just how I have operated. And I will say, I was just sort of inherently when I was younger, it was like, don't be a bossy girl, which nowadays you'd be like, there's a leader in our midst.
That's interesting. Sometimes courage got translated to bossy if you're a woman.
Well, yeah, like being like a leader or taking, sort of, and for a long time, I think I fought that or didn't thought that was something that was bad until I just started owning it, and it's worked out pretty well for me.
I love that. And, it's interesting. I've been thinking a lot about the way women can inspire one another. And I think that you have always, through your embracing the courage, embracing you're a leader, you have encouraged me to level up again and again in my.
Well, that means so much to me because you're a crazy, amazing human. But I think that, I really want to be around people that celebrate people's successes. Men, women, whoever, and anyone and everyone. That's the energy that I want to be surrounded by. And I don't think that can be faked.
And tell me a little bit about women along your path who may have inspired you to be a rock star.
I mean, my mom from the get-go was always, from when I was very young, she was very staunch about, girls can do anything. There's a really funny story actually where my dad was out of town for some reason and she would like to move the furniture around all the time. It was sort of like her thing. And we were moving the furniture. We had this big piano at the time. And my mom's like, well, we have to wait till your dad gets home because we can't move this. And I was like, what do you mean, Mom? Girls can do anything. And my mom was like, oh my gosh, I was eating my words during this. So then we figured out a way, like we would stack an ottoman and then get in front of it and push it with our legs. And we figured out a way because she was like, I had to figure out a way how to move this piano because you were calling me out of my own words. So, my mom was always a huge champion of me. And also she moved a lot with my dad and she always made her own way in those places and spaces. She, become president of the homeowners association. She became president of a dance company that I danced with. She would get involved with the levy at the school and then be running that. Like she just always was a leader. And even though she didn't have a, going to an office career like that, I was her main career at that point. She was always very involved and such a leader. So in my immediate life, that's it. If we're looking at like bigger figures, you already mentioned her, but Miss M.
We know.
Madonna has always been from when I was very, very young. I was just enthralled by the way in which she didn't care and did all of these things that were sometimes popular, sometimes really not popular. And I always loved the fact that she said to all detractors that were like, you don't even have a good voice. And she goes, I'm not here because I have a good voice. I'm here because I have something to say. And, she just worked so hard and I really resonated with that. And then I eventually got to work for her in a way, which was super cool. So,
dance like 5 feet away from this woman.
That's the hardest I've ever worked. That's the hardest I've ever worked in my whole life.
That says a lot because you work your ass off. So yeah. Talk about other women like leveling each other up. When you got in the room with Madonna, you were like, okay, come on. It's not you're not a slacker. So that says a lot. That's amazing. Oh my goodness. So speaking of Madonna and how she says she has something to say, here's a question that kind of ties to that. Why is it important for women to raise their voices and rock it?
Because we're incredible. we're more than half the population.
Hello.
We have infinite gifts. We have, a unique ability to like multitask and be creative and lead and sort of see a very global vision, I think, global perspective in things that are happening.
That's really interesting. That's true. I think there is kind of like a 360 thing that women do. We're thinking about this and that. Just like when I said something about what I just say, and you're like, oh, it's about branding. I mean, you're not just like a yoga teacher. You're thinking about the whole thing as an entrepreneur too.
Yeah. And I think that can be anyone. I just, since I am a woman, I've never really, obviously I'm a female entrepreneur and I love lifting up and empowering women. It's never really been the way in which I've approached it. Like, it's like just for female, it's just like, that's just who I am. And, so it's a very human leadership, which I think is a way to empower women. I don't like women to be pigeonholed, and I don't like to be either, in terms of like, well, you must feel this way because you're a woman. Like, do I though? Yeah. And I like, I like that. I like celebrating individuality of women and also a movement, for women to celebrate each other and celebrate each other's successes and celebrate each other's go for it failures too. Like, not everything works out perfectly, but, celebrate the work that gets put in and also just actually have each other's backs.
I love that. And tell us how you bring that into, bonus question, not in the lightning round. How do you bring sort of your, philosophy in that way into your practice at Lyons Den Digital? So, because let's just say, folks, if you haven't taken classes with this woman, which by the way, her classes, I have to say from a personal note, have healed me. Physically, mentally, spiritually. I had ankle issues. I got on the mat with Bethany and, gradually healed that. I spent at least 2 New Year's Eves at the Den in New York City when it was just like the absolute best place to be on New Year's Eve. What a empowering and healthy place, to kick off a new year. And, it was a place, and it remains a place now globally, that has this powerful community. And I think you have created with Lyons Den Digital this global network of courage and empowerment that, I remember a year ago, more tears, hold it together, that we were sitting in a restaurant. Last time I was in a restaurant without a mask, it was mid-March 2020, and we were like, okay,
March 13th.
March 13th. And I remember you said, I think I'm going to have to go digital. This is like a year ago. And
I did on Monday. And I did on Monday. We were together on Friday. The studio was open and like, it seemed like, okay, we're still going Saturday, Sunday, closed down, shut down, had to lay off. Like, it was just the wildest thing ever. And then I was like, Monday, 5 p.m., we go live.
I have to
every day
let everyone know that. Yeah, that this woman, this was like the last hurrah. It was the, before the world changed, was with, my dear friend Bethany for her kind of slightly belated, birthday celebration at the time. We're all, by the way, happy belated birthday right now.
Thank you.
Not long ago. But that's another thing about you, is that you, to me, not only exemplify courage, but you exemplify resilience. And that Monday, right after you said to me, I think we're going to have to go digital, you made it happen. You got the camera, you got the equipment, you figured it out with your team. Like, give me a little more insight into what gives you that ability to just again and again, resilience. You're a fighter. How do you summon that again and again?
I think I just am really focused in on what I am for, like what I'm a yes for, what I want to make happen. And so I can I can't stay in a space of complaint or victimhood for like any period of time and feel comfortable in my own skin. So I am immediately like, well, there is a way. What's the solution? Or what am I trying to do? Okay, what I do is I empower people. I bring, that's my role. And so if the physical studio shut down, how am I still doing that? How are we still doing that? Because there has to be a way. I'm very much like a will, there's a way kind of girl.
Just like figuring out with your mom, you were saying, you're going to push that thing.
Yeah, like, well, there has to be a way. Girls can do anything, mom. Change is a constant. We all know this, you know, and I think that we have never experienced it quite so rapidly and all at the same time. And like all of these things happening that affected us on so many levels. But like, that's just life. I mean, we had, I feel like I had a dress rehearsal for this because the month prior to us shutting down for the pandemic, we had a fire in our studio. And so it was sort of like, I actually kind of felt like very teed up for it. It's kind of like, all right, one crisis. I found out through last year, well, the past few years, but really last year, I'm not really good in a crisis because I don't focus on what's wrong. Like, of course stuff is wrong. I mean, we could just sit here and complain all night long about everything we miss and everything that's changed that we didn't want, you know, like all that stuff, everything that's not my preference. And instead, I choose to focus in on what's great and not in like everything's so good, there's nothing wrong, you know, like just shove down your throat positivity. That's not what I mean, but there is so much good. There's so much good. And there's so much good that's come of this. I am 100% a happier and better person than I was a year ago.
Ooh, that's powerful. I feel that deeply. And thank you for sharing all of that, because I feel like guys, we got people in the room. This is so awesome. Give us like some hearts and some comments if you feel what Bethany just said. Because honestly, isn't that the kind of inspiration we need right now? This is resilience right here. I hope to have another conversation with Bethany soon, but I'm going to leave you all with this question for the amazing Bethany Lyons. And remember to check out Lyons Den Digital to getting hearts. We're getting all kinds of love here. Bethany, give us one tip. If we could take one tip to rock it in our careers so courageously, give us just one tip to leave with.
My one tip is, it's a phrase that I've said for a few years now, but it has never resonated more than I think today, like than it ever has, which is doing the work is the shortcut. Doing the work is the shortcut, no matter what it is, whether it's a friendship that you care about, a relationship that you care about, a business, a health plan. There is no just like little shortcut. You can't. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to get your hands dirty. You want to have real good relationships where you don't talk about the weather and you get through times together. You have to be willing to be in uncomfortable places and do that work. And I don't mean to say like, you know, do the work, but like really you have to put in time and effort. And actually it's so much more rewarding than if everything was just handed over on a silver platter.
I'm just absorbing that because I know that you do all these things. You have gotten your hands in this in every way with your business. You are right there making it happen. There's no like 4-hour work week, whatever shortcut to like, right. You know what? It's like you are putting in, and I'm just so grateful that I have gotten to be your friend for so many years. And I will say that Bethany, you said something to me once, like we're the kind of friends that can call each other at 3 a.m. That's the kind of friends that I want. I want the kind of friends and people in my life and colleagues, work people who are there for me. And that's the kind of people I want in my life. And you have been that for me and more.
Ditto.
I'm so thrilled that we could
Ditto. Back at you. Thanks everybody for joining too. This is so fun. Yay.
Keep rocking it, everyone. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning into the She Rocked It podcast. I'm your host, Karen Gross. This episode has been produced by Tori Marchioni and Jake Siegelbaum, with audio engineering by Teng Chen. The She Rocked It theme song is by Karen Gross and Tim Motzer. I invite you to join us on Instagram at She Rocked It and join our Rockstar network at SheRockedIt.com. We hope you'll add your voice to the conversation because at She Rocked It, we are dedicated to raising the volume on women's voices.